Hey everybody, welcome to a real special Intelligame stream this time around. We usually don't stream on Fridays, but there's always a time and a place for something new and exciting. So if this is your first Intelligame stream, welcome. It's really exciting to see you here. My name is Josh Boykin. I am the founder of Intelligame.us. It's a game culture and criticism site that finds intersections between games and the world around us, which is why it's so fantastic to have the rest of the ALTcade team here with me today. Say hi to Yuri Kovichko and Hannah Piper Burns.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
We are together. We are ALTcade, which just sounds like some sort of odd Captain Planet reference or something. But
We should all put our hands in.
yeah. But yeah, this is going to be a stream that's a little different than what we've done in the past. We're going to be going through a number of what we call alt games. So they are generally shorter. They're created by independent developers, and they're generally meant to convey some sort of experience, some sort of particular concept. Yuri actually is kind of the main person behind ALTcade. Do you want to give some background on sort of the ideas of alt games and ALTcade and how you brought the group together?
Sure. So just to give everyone an introduction to what ALTcade is, we actually started as sort of an event that was inspired by a similar event up in Vancouver, BC, run by a couple of friends of mine called Heart Projector. And the idea behind Heart Projector and ALTcade is to show off games that might not necessarily see an audience or see as much of an audience in other spaces. So they're certainly not mainstream or AAA games. They're not necessarily indie games. They're made by independent developers, but they don't quite fit the indie mold as most people would probably refer to it. They typically are non-commercial games, as in they're much more about personal expression than anything else. They're typically smaller, shorter, more based on personal experiences. They're more about expressing emotion, telling a story. Those are all really sort of generalities. There isn't really one specific thing that alt games focuses on, and ALTcade in general also tries to, we're not even just alt games, where we show off things that aren't games, we show off things that are interactive experiences. It's really just about providing a space to show off things that are contributing maybe more to the art side of interactive media. And that's actually a big part of why I asked Hannah and Josh to join me on the organizing team for ALTcade, because I figured both of you would have sort of different perspectives to bring to the table. So I'm a developer myself, so I'm sort of bringing the kind of developer perspective. Josh runs Intelligame, which is sort of the criticism side of things, the analysis side of things that I really appreciate. And Hannah, why don't you talk about what you do?
I'm an artist.
That's it. I'm just an artist.
Moving right along. I am a multimedia time-based artist who's recently started working in interactivity, and I also curate experimental media art. So I've shown some experimental interactive works as well as experimental alt games and art games at a space that I run in downtown Portland. And I've really loved, as someone who didn't grow up in the gaming lifestyle, it's been really great to come to alt games as an artist and find a medium that has so much potential and is tied into so many things that I'm passionate about, like film and video. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy to play some games today.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And awesome. Hi, Elaine. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. I think you'll see some stuff here that you're pretty excited about today. Now, ALTcade is a Portland-specific event, right? Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about the last ALTcade and what happened there?
Sure. So a big part of what ALTcade tries to do is sort of bring these games to the forefront. And not only are we talking about, the broader alt game scene from the internet, which we definitely want to showcase off of, but because we're a Portland local event and because there are other events around, other cities that are kind of similar in nature. Again, I mentioned Heart Projector. There's also a few others as well. What we really want to do is make sure that we're also showing off the work of local developers. And that's really important to us. We're sort of very roughly making sure that at least half of the games that we show, half of the pieces that we show at any one event are from local developers. So you can come out and chat with them. A lot of them are going to be at the space, during the event, either kind of helping run their games or just, mingling. So you can say hi to everyone, kind of get a sense of the scene, and just a sort of kind of community space on top of being just a place to check out these games and play these games, ones that you probably would never have an opportunity to otherwise.
Yeah, a lot of the games we showed at our last showcase, we showed about 20 games, and we had a mix. It was really about pairing local games with games not made locally along thematic lines or similar game dynamics lines, aesthetic lines, finding ways to show those relationships. Whereas this one that we're programming currently, there's like a really pointed theme, which is resistance. So we're looking today at games that have a resistance theme, whether that theme comes through in game dynamics or comes through in the way that the game is set. There's a lot of different, as we know, there's a lot of different modes of resistance, and there's a lot of different ways resistance can express itself. So we're really trying to find a expanded view of resistance in the expanded field, I like to call it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and also thank you for that host, Hylian. Always appreciate it when folks spread the word about Intelligame and the Intelligame stream. But yeah, that was unfortunately I wasn't at the last event, but it sounded like it was super fantastic. And we also want to give a big shout out and a thanks to OpenSignal for hosting our location. They not only host ALTcade stuff, but they also host Twitch PDX stuff. Like they're so community involved and really care about the work that's happening here. So
yeah, if you're in Portland, definitely check out OpenSignal.
Yeah, really just fantastic people, fantastic resources. But thank you so much for helping make ALTcade a reality. It's super great. So what we are going to do today is go through a series of games, some of which are going to be shorter than others, to expose more of the ideas of what we're talking about with alt games, and particularly around some of these games that are going to be themed around resistance. Now, a number of these games are ones that we are potentially thinking about for ALTcade, but haven't gone through entirely. So this is going to be a blind playthrough for for all of us on a number of occasions, so that we kind of have an opportunity to share the initial feelings and experiences that we would have. And also be able to share a little bit of our curation process as well, to talk about the things that kind of stand out for us. And obviously, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave those in the chat. I'll be keeping an eye on that over here in the corner. So if anything comes up, we're happy to entertain or discuss those ideas.
Yeah. Thanks for watching us make the sausage.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to start with one that is a personal favorite of mine, actually. I was fairly adamant that when we got this started that we would take this game on. We become what we behold. Let's go ahead and make our transition, shall we? Transition magic! Hooray. So we become what we behold is it's about a 5-minute game, and it basically it is a commentary on media consumption. And the effects that consuming media have on people, which then have an effect on the media that we consume. It is a fairly intense game, and I would point out that the ending, as a trigger warning, does have some pretty graphic violence. They are not human-looking figures, but still, if you got some kids around, you might want to give them about 5 minutes. I've actually played this before. Would either of you like to take this on?
Yuri?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. I'll hand you the mouse. It's a pure mouse game, so yeah, give it a shot. And yes, social statement game. You will see a number of social statements in the games we're taking on today, Hylian.
The thing I immediately love is that the cursor turns into a hand sticking out from behind the cursor.
So Nikki Case is the developer who's behind this and has done a number of really fantastic works that do a good job of really combining. It's like cute, but then also devastating.
Yeah. Case has done a number of what they call instructables, kind of like interactive, instructive pieces of media, games, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And click. All right.
Hashtag.
Unai Sam.
Oh dear. Okay, well. So
I'm really interested to see what you do next.
So if people are going to imitate what. It seems like people are imitating what I'm showing them. Of course.
Oh.
Of course.
Oh.
Of course, I think I'm doing something good, and
Well, and so this is the place where like you do have that kind of that natural, you do have that perspective from the author where it's like, oh, well, if we took a picture of them, like obviously we're going to shame them for being happy,
right.
because otherwise, how else do we sell papers?
Indeed. All right. Well, I'm gonna try grass. Let's.
It's nothing.
Oh. That's a meme waiting to happen.
I've
very
actually
rainbow
never
nothing.
taken picture of grass before.
Oh man, now I really wanted to take a picture of that cricket. What if I can wait? Let's see. All right. I'm gonna see if I can get a picture of the cricket that appears immediately
Survey
after.
says?
Oh,
Little cricky.
No,
Oh wait, there's.
no, there's more.
Wait. Okay. This is.
Little Cricky.
Hey, P. Flam, welcome to the chat. It's good to see you.
Oh, okay. I should probably take games about political risks a little bit more seriously. All right.
Well, I mean, this is part of what makes alt games great, though.
Indeed. All right. Let's go with the half.
Oh. Been there.
Yeah.
That's a cool new one. All right. Let's see. What about average group of average humans?
Just some normal peeps.
Okay. Pretty
Cricky
boring.
likes it.
So, I mean, and the nice thing is you can see from a game design perspective, the funnel is starting to show up. You know, you can take pictures of whatever you want to, but we now have an idea of what we're supposed to be taking a picture of. There.
All right. Let's try to get an action shot.
Nice.
So this is where it begins. And P. Flan is actually, he said, oh no, this game is familiar because actually there is an Intelligame article about this game that I can link to later.
Oh.
Right.
Okay. So I can't just show people being scared.
Exactly.
I have to show an action shot, as it were. Okay. Come on, nervous little humans.
So I think this is the part that strikes me the most.
Ear squares. I like the image there.
So we have like
Well, that
one.
square isn't super happy about it.
We have one sort of like. And I played it on Congregate a long while ago, so maybe he didn't see it on Intelligame. Go ahead and break my heart, why don't you, P. Flan?
Alright, let's see. Oh, I think I may have pulled the trigger a little
Just
bit
a
early.
little bit early. Squares, snubs, circles.
Oh, escalation is the name of the game. Let's see here.
Hey, actually, can you come back? We're sorry. I'll do it.
Who tunes in to watch?
I do.
Yeah.
I like happy endings.
What? Look at
This is amazing. Peace is violence goes
Look
viral.
at that.
Come on.
Oh dear. I don't want to just keep taking pictures of
No.
this adorable.
Everything's public. Oh no, are we gonna? What have you done?
No, I'm not inciting conflict. No. I'm just. All right, one more.
No.
Yeah.
This is my editor, right?
Right.
Alright. You're
Right.
Mixing in a little bit of love didn't work.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, like, even if you have love in the image,
Oh.
the love isn't affecting the other people. The
Yeah,
way that
that's
people,
true.
the interactions are being caused by people being angry with each other.
Let's take a bit of a break.
Apparently that is not interesting. Meanwhile, uh-oh.
This is where it just takes off.
Oh, protesters.
Yeah, protesters. Heck yeah.
Oh, come
Come
on.
I'm, maybe they will later, but I'm kind of surprised they didn't do the like protesters rioting.
Well, I mean, I think part of there's no actual interaction between people who are not yelling.
Right,
right.
right. Well, I kind of wondered, like, if you had taken a picture of it, like the first one you did, it was a shaming thing.
Oh.
Not shaming them, but like, take a picture, it's like protesters rioting and destroying the peace.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Everyone hates everyone with a one. Yeah.
So I see. So we're slowly converting more and more people.
Is that blood?
Oh,
Oh,
no,
it's just like
that's
screaming.
just anger.
Just screaming red. It's red words. Oh, look, hat guy.
and to highlight situations that are taking place in the world and to give people the opportunity to see what is happening. But there also is that concern that, like, when I bring this issue up, am I feeding a fire? Am I creating a solution? Am I, understanding the power behind the messages that we send?
Right.
And I think that though this is framed in the context of mass media, there is, I think that a lot of people don't understand the power that they hold with the share button and with the retweet button, because there's an inherent trust that shows up when somebody shares an article on Facebook to their kids or grandkids or best friend or whatever that I don't get as just random journalist from somewhere. So like, we all have that power to be taking those pictures and sharing those messages.
Yeah.
Well, and also, like, it makes me think, I don't know, I've been like waiting against my better judgment, looking at some comment threads on some posts lately, and just thinking about how, like, with the picture Yuri took that we thought was going to be sweet and then was shaming, it's like, you don't know by pulling focus onto something, like, I think about that a lot with just visibility in general. Like, with visibility comes danger.
Right.
So like, as you champion things, like, think about calling attention to stuff, and also like these comment sections that are just stirring. It's like, it reminds me of like the people just getting angrier and angrier and angrier. This is a really amazing way to end it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, this is I guess if I thought about it, it might have been better to start off with something that was a little less jarring. But
I don't know.
We're gonna get a lot of I mean,
Yeah.
these are gonna be intense games, a lot of them.
right.
We live in intense times.
Yeah, this is almost an aside, but it's interesting. Like, as a game developer who like has knows how the sausage is made, I immediately turn into start doing the meta analysis of and like it loses its effect a little bit to a degree. So it's almost like kind of weird having this like view of something that's very serious, that's supposed to have this very serious reaction to it, but also having this like sideline thing of like, oh, but I really know what they're going for. Like, I know exactly how they're engineering a certain thought pattern, so to speak, and I appreciate it. Right? Like everything is guiding you towards a certain thought pattern in a way. Right? You're going for a certain reaction, and you're going for a certain certain beats and kind of things and whatnot. But it's almost like a meta, like a meta about a meta game.
The meta
It's
about
like,
the meta.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Hylian was saying that she wasn't ready for that ending, and that is, I mean, I think that's exactly the point that Yuri's kind of drawing up to. Like, particularly, when you're a critic or a developer or whatever, you can see some of the tools that are being built up to give you this. I mean, like when you're watching a movie and you hear the violin, that one note violin, and you're just like, something terrible's about to happen.
Yep.
That never means a love scene.
Never. But they specifically do. It seems like they specifically do bring up. Nikki works away from a lot of those cues, so that you're really not prepared for. Even if you're prepared for violence, you're not prepared for that level of physicality and violence. So.
And the fact that it actually doesn't start with the circles and squares, I think, is interesting. Like, it actually isn't.
Right.
Like, they're yelling at each other, but remaining kind of in stasis.
Right.
It's when Monocle shoots Hearthead.
Which actually P. Flan brings up when he did his playthrough. He took endless pictures of the cricket and the love people, and then the hat guy apparently shows up anyway. So it's kind of interesting to think about. Like, even it's not there is a certain amount of media cycle pushing the narrative, right? But there also is that idea that latching onto the fear that is generated from what could be an isolated incident is also what perpetuates, is what becomes that inciting action and causes the actual violence. So that's really interesting. I had never played through it like that before, so I'm glad you brought that up, P. Flan. Thanks for that. So,
should we move on to the next one?
Yes. So, I think we should take on, let's see, the next one that we have on the list is it Cat in the Hijab? Let's see. The next one that we have on the list is The Cat in the Hijab.
This one's been covered pretty widely. I think Kotaku's covered it. It was recommended to me separately by other people when I was asking for these games. If you haven't played it, you're in. Well, we're gonna do it now.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
One thing that's been interesting about picking games for ALTcade is that it can be a little bit difficult to pick games without playing through every single possible game. So like one of the main sources of games that we looked at for this particular event was Resist Jam, which you can check out on itch.io, #ResistJam.
Yep.
And there's a lot of games there. There's like 150 or so games. And just due to the limitations of time, it's truly difficult to play through all of them.
Right.
So we had to somehow pick a subset of these games. And what I was really trying not to do, and falling into the trap anyways, is focusing a little too much on polish. Because it's very easy to look at the games and see a very polished game and not necessarily, but that the very polished game is kind of almost antithetical to what we want to do with ALTcade, right? Like, just because something's very polished, that's not why we want to show it.
Right.
Sure.
We want to show it because it's made by somebody who wouldn't normally have access to an audience, or it's presenting a message that's not one that necessarily gets a lot of attention, or it has a really powerful or interesting message, or it's
Right.
conveying an experience that's really powerful and interesting. And none of those things really depend on polish, or at
Sure.
least immediate visual polish. And the reason I bring that up with The Cat and the Hijab is because that game, and I think one of the reasons why it was covered so widely as part of this jam, like it's sort of the title screen for all of these articles written about the jam, is because it's one of the ones that looks the best.
But I think polish can also be like a disguise, you know? Polish can be, I appreciate work that lulls you in with seductive imagery. Seductive not necessarily means sexually seductive, but just like appealing imagery.
Yeah.
And use that as a way to like then deliver. It's like medicine and wrapped up in a piece of candy or something.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
a piece
I
of
would
cheese.
argue things can do that without necessarily being polished. Like, they can
Okay.
be cute, but polished represents a certain amount of like a lot of extra time was spent on this
I see.
to really iron out the edges. So something can
see.
still be like cute and do that tricking thing. But I totally
Well,
agree.
I think you're right. We Become What We Behold operates with the same
Yeah.
kind of thing. I mean, it is kind of cute. Those crickets are real cute. Even the square and circle guys are kind of cute at first, you know, and that cuteness gives way to something much more sinister.
Right.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
But yeah, and so the reason I bring that up specifically about The Cat and the Hijab is I actually spent the most time researching the background about that game to make sure that it not only because that game and again, very, like, I wasn't able to get super detailed information necessarily, but I don't think that game was made. I'm pretty sure that game wasn't made by somebody who represents the experience that is represented in the game, which immediately made me kind of like,
Sus.
yeah. And the reason I still felt like it might be a good candidate is because I actually read about all of the research that the developer had done, looking into interviews of people who were in those experiences and making sure to be, relatively authentic in a limited time period to those experiences in terms of doing the research and making sure that, hey, this is actually like representative of the way that this kind of thing plays out and the way people feel in those situations. But yeah, it's something that's very interesting because like you almost have to force yourself to look at what just like on a kind of wrong and purely instinctual level. It's like, oh, that's an ugly game kind of thing. Like you have that immediate like, oh, that's not an image that when I look at it is immediately attractive to me. It doesn't have that like instant draw, that instant pull that is sort of like been ingrained in my brain. It's something that I have to work against. It's like, no, you really have to look at the deeper context of the game and really look into it. And that's something that I learned a lot about in conversation about like Imbroglio and some of Michael Burrow's games. If you've ever played, he's done, what was it, 868 Hack, Imbroglio, Crypt something. Anyways, and in he got criticized by, I think, Jonathan Blow, not exactly criticized, but Jonathan Blow said like, oh, if only these games were a little bit more polished, they would sell better.
Sure.
And they would do better. And Michael Bro actually, I think either his response or some other critic's response, so it's like, excuse me, but like the quote unquote lack of polish, the rough edges, are actually part of the experience.
Sure.
They were actually intentionally chosen.
Right.
Like that's there for a reason.
Well, why don't we show them The Cat and the Hijab so they can see a little bit of what you're talking about.
I didn't want to spoil the game, which is why I was like kind of talking in vague
That's
terms.
okay. And also to do a quick chat catch up. Thank you, Vernus, for the follow. Totally appreciate that. And then also, Unseen Academical says, hello, ALTcade people.
Hi.
It's Paul V, if you know him from Games Together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Hey.
he is one of the Intelligame moderators. So thanks for swinging by. And he asks, any specific games to stream later to deal with the difference between polish and effective design? We're going to be doing a lot of alt games, so I'm sure we'll have multiple opportunities to talk about places where it's like, oh, this is where it might feel a little grittier, so to speak, but still is able to convey a lot of effect. And particularly since a number of these are game jam games, they're going to be projects that were created under a pretty tight deadline in the first place.
That's something to keep in mind as well, as a lot of these were made in Resist Jam. And just right before we start, I just want to, on that polish note, like in our last showcase, we actually had games that were broken, you know, and that was sort of part of the dynamic of the game was that it was purposefully glitched,
Right.
you know, and so that's like the opposite end of the spectrum, right, where it's like meant to fail.
Or
It's like-
that it's meant to appear like it fails.
Meant to appear like it fails. It's meant, which is like almost a refutation of the kind of benchmarks of the industry, right?
Sure.
Which I appreciate.
Glitch aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yes. And Paul actually is looking for, I guess, things where he's looking for least effective design in a AAA title versus most effective design in a very rough game. So either an example of a AAA game that comes off as like it's really polished, but it's garbage, and I'm sure there are tons of those out there, or a game that feels very rough, but it turns out can be, is very insightful.
Yeah, I'll post a link to it, but Corrupt is the game that I was thinking of specifically.
Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and boot up the cat in the hijab if it decides that it wants to load. There we go. Is this a mouse game? Is this a keyboard game?
Both, actually. It's just up on the screen a second ago.
You just hit start. So the cat says, go back to your own country.
Let's see, how do I respond? I am sassy, so I'm gonna.
Wow. Okay, so we're gonna get spot on.
Okay,
Right
here we
into
are.
it.
That was
Just
pointed.
trying to make my. Wow. So our new hairball and chief. All of Fisher basic advice.
Your ball and chip is kind of out. I'm just gonna.
Understand cat. So I think you may be using it. I think be able to walk around with the wrist.
Oh, concern trolling. That's chill.
So right, don't you feel hot in that thing? You should take it. Now see, so it's like our top is this. I mean, it's a bunch of emotional labor, right? The idea of like, and you're still giving an explanation about like, this is a hijab, this is the background, the garment. Of course, I hear it's a symbol of repression. You don't need to wear it in this country. Like, and she looks like she's being kind of sassy about it, but I can also imagine somebody saying those things with like actual like concern, like you were calling it concern troll, right?
Yeah.
Like, the idea that somebody's saying like, oh no, you can be free in this country, you can do whatever you want to, as if that person never knew.
Yeah, as a woman, when anyone tries to tell me what to wear, I get pretty sassy. So. Also, I would just like to point out here the similarities between the way this hijab is designed for the game and the hats from the Women's March.
Yeah. Give me just a second. Oops. Okay.
Let go.
Yeah, our
Give
game
Josh.
volume
Sorry.
is not. Yeah, thanks for letting me know about the game audio. We'll try and tune that up. Okay. Try it again.
I guess I'm just.
think that should be better.
Maybe you're
All right, and then you can
you're-
use the mouse now. You're good.
Cool.
And by the way, folks, the Epigonian chat is Yuri, so you can check out that link for Strawberry Cubes, which is a super glitch heavy game.
Yeah, and that's one where it actually is broken. It's not just imitating brokenness. It
Right.
literally is bugs left in the game on purpose.
Right. Thank you for that follow. Definitely appreciate it, Coyote. Let's see. What was the original dialogue?
So this cat is harassing this cat, saying the cat is a man in drag and is a freak.
Let's see. Men should act and dress like men. Don't get me started about weather. It's sure been a strange year lately.
So this is a tactic that I've seen shared a lot on social media, where if you're seeing someone being harassed in public, you sort of intervene and start a conversation with them as a way to sort of tune out
Okay.
whoever's yelling at them, sort of give them
Yeah.
a point of focus and be like, hi. So I'm choosing to walk
Okay.
her off of the train.
So wait, so okay, so wait, so you're playing as the, or were you
As the
choosing the
cat.
dialogue options of the woman in the hijab?
Yeah.
And so the other person, the
The
other
other
cat
person.
was being harassed
Yeah, this
by.
cat.
Okay.
Aw.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different scenarios that
Sure.
can play out. Let's go
Do
through.
we want to try one more?
Yeah.
Let me do. Would you mind if I?
Oh,
jump out of this one?
please. I wish you would.
Let's see.
All right, and Academical says that he's got a reading list bot on his channel, so he's going to add some of the games from that we run today onto his list.
Hey, cool. Thank you.
Let's see.
So-
All right, but this is my country.
We don't want your kind here. So do you get
All right.
super
Yeah.
super
Yuri's
antagonistic?
gonna.
Yeah.
Go fuzz yourself. I kind of want to say that
Go
now,
fuzz
like
yourself?
in an actual
Go
situation.
fuzz yourself.
Yeah. Whatever. Keep talking. Of course, easy for me to say that.
I mean, and
Playing
that's
a video game.
I was gonna say. I mean, it's
What happens when you run out of time? See, there's a timer bar. Oh,
I
so
can
you
tell
don't-
you're one of them by that scarf covering your head.
Lovely.
Wow. Right.
No.
Wow.
No, maybe not. Let's see what. Yeah, let's see what happens if the. I'm guessing it's just gonna.
We'll
default
just run the ignore. Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was the same prompt we got
Gotcha.
before.
Yeah.
'Cause you probably don't even understand Caglish. Now, I think the interesting thing about using cats in this particular situation is that you have the opportunity to then, like, it naturally brings the guard down. It naturally desensitizes, right?
Mhm.
Because you're dealing with cats, and then you can drop in little cat puns like "go fuzz yourself," but you're still talking about situations or trying to make parallels to actual situations. I do think that, though I can appreciate, and given I don't have this, this particular background, I'm not Muslim, but like I feel like I can notice places in the nuance of the dialogue where it feels like it's not being written by somebody who's gone through the experiences, and I guess I deal with that a lot when I'm playing games that have like black protagonists or particularly black side characters who are talking about some sort of like racial oppression or some sort of racial situation. And very frequently you can see in the nuance of the dialogue, I'm like, that was written by a white person. And it's hard to put the finger on, but it is part of why it's so critical to have people from the backgrounds that you're trying to represent in your story also be represented in your writing team or in your game creation, because like folks who are going through those experiences very frequently can tell when they are not
Oh, absolutely.
actually
Yeah.
from those
I mean,
backgrounds.
In a much more generalized way, I think the way women are written across media is indicative of that.
Right.
Which is another point of like, I think that's something we need to examine as we program these games is who is making them.
Right.
Because even if these games are all about resistance, if it's not a diversity in developers, then what are we doing here?
Right. Oh, this is an interesting
I'm gonna
option.
start recording the
Yeah.
smartphone.
Runs out the door sobbing. Wow. Now, and this is also kind of interesting. Interesting commentary, right? Because our media firestorms are built up by somebody who just happens to pull out their cell phone and start recording some sort of nonsense that's taking place. But
Holy moly.
Well, no.
wow.
I'm not going to choose that.
Meownificent.
Magnificent.
And I like that there are.
Oh dear.
Yeah, last time we had the "This is my stop" too.
All right. Not just in the interest of choosing something different, because last time we walked out.
Yeah.
Right. I guess we walked out.
Because it was our stop as well.
Yeah. Sure.
Hmm.
All right. So that gives us a bit of a sense.
Ooh.
Hold on a sec.
Just in time.
Right.
Yep. Well, I didn't get,
Again,
I closed-
jam games.
when I closed the game, I think just closing it,
Sure.
decided.
So that was The Cat in the Hijab. And I think, it did. There are a number of games that focus on dialogue and story. A lot of times we call them walking simulators.
Yeah.
And I think that channels a lot of those same ideas or energies. In the same way that if it were a Twine game, which we'll end up seeing one of, at least probably a couple
At
of,
least a couple.
depending on how quickly we do our playthroughs.
Did you get the sense that the dialogue in that was a little bit on the forced side?
Very much so.
Yeah, and again, I think that leads to a little bit of that, like, this doesn't feel like it's coming from, and I don't know, again, we don't have the final confirmation on where that came from, but
Yeah.
a lot of times, I actually remember reading when DC did their New 52 reboot, Mr. Terrific #1, which I was really excited about because Mr. Terrific is supposed to be, I believe he's the third smartest person in the DC universe. So there's Batman, and then I don't know, and then Mr. Terrific.
Batman really is the
Yeah.
smartest?
Well, he's the world's greatest detective, but I digress. So there's this part of this dialogue where Mr. Terrific, who's like this super rich guy, is holding this like house party, or this big like fancy penthouse party, and there's some pretty rich white girl who's there, and then of course there's a pretty black woman who shows up, and the white woman's like, oh, you're just mad at me because essentially it's like, you're mad at me because I'm white, and then the black woman's like, well, my body was made to handle more than yours ever, was ever made to, or whatever. And it was one of those things where I was just like, I feel like you watched a movie, and that movie told you, informed you how to create this dialogue.
It's like almost paper cutout versions of humans as opposed to.
Right.
It's like, well, they're saying all the right things.
Exactly. That sounds black. That sound, and so there's a nuance that comes from having dialogue that is created by people who understand and have gone through those experiences. Because very much, in those situations, I felt like the dialogue didn't have there are so many levels to how those interactions would happen. Very infrequently do you ever get to the point where it's just like outright anger or outright, you should be ashamed of yourself, and so in a lot of ways the dialogue options that we had felt like they were similarly extreme in a sense to the dialogue that we were confronting.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you're in situations where you're worried about your safety, there's a lot more negotiation and worrying about your safety as opposed to having some sort of one blatant statement. So,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like it's almost less.
Sorry, P Flan said in the chat, "OMG, I've seen Crash, guys. It's time to write."
Very that.
Yeah, and I think that's basically what we're talking about. So yeah, but still, and I do think it's interesting that that is the game that's seen as sort of the banner of Resist Jam. But I do think that it holds a lot of style.
Yeah.
So maybe if it's, and I don't know how that plays into polish, but it very much has a striking visual tone that tells you like this isn't made by people with a bunch of money, and it also features cats, and like it hits all those things that if it were the front image of insert article, you'd be likely to click it.
Yeah,
and
it uses that style well,
right,
as well.
Yeah, it is one of the few games we've played, both for the last showcase and this one, that feels very geared toward a younger audience. Like, I feel like that is a tween and teen oriented game.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do not get that sense.
So. Like,
I almost got the sense that it was like a game you would play for sensitivity training. It's like if a bunch of white people designed a sensitivity training game. That's what they would design.
Maybe that's why I think it's like, yeah, because this is like for a child.
Yeah.
This is, I feel like, well, and I don't know. Maybe I'm being too critical or something. I just felt like, yeah, because of the simplicity of the choices and the dialogue, it seemed there wasn't a lot of nuance.
Yes.
Although I did find it interesting and also troubling with the interactions with the other cat at the end, where there's an option to invoke like a religious bigotry on the part of the cat in the hijab herself.
Yeah.
Where there's a choice to call the other cat a freak or a perversion, and I don't know how I feel about that.
So I think that there is and I would also note that like we didn't choose that option, right? So from a design perspective, that I think that's where a lot of the
Does it happen?
I've never had that happen before.
Oh my gosh. It was me. I did it. It was my fault.
It says no battery. I just saw the icon for it.
That's
before, on the previous screen.
That's so weird. I guess that could have been what those indicators were that popped up over here, but it didn't actually say anything.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't make any sense because it's plugged in.
Maybe it doesn't recognize that it's plugged in.
5% remaining. If this is like some sort of imminent battery failure or something, I'm going to be really upset. Okay. So we're just going to change.
Yeah, maybe it's just that.
Maybe that plug is dead.
Let's hope.
Oh, that did it.
Okay.
Now it's plugged in. Seems the stream is possibly still going though.
That doesn't make sense. It is. I don't understand.
In the past.
Yeah, it's about 30 seconds behind.
Yeah. How are we?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're still.
I don't know
streaming,
how we're
so-
still live, but okay, we're still live. Hooray!
Great. Hope I didn't
Hooray
do anything
for-
dumb while that was happening.
Right.
Hibernate resuming
Good.
and resuming
Sheesh.
OBS correctly.
That
which is
was-
kind of impressive.
The strangest. Anyway, so I guess since we're still here, we should just
Move
wait.
on.
Yeah, let's jump
Oh,
into our
wait.
next one. Computer is so enraged about injustice that it lights itself on fire. I really hope not, because then I won't be able to do anything about injustice.
So our next one is District, which is another web-based one.
Yep.
This one I like a lot.
Okay. Let me go ahead and cue it up. What do you like about District?
So District, I mean, I think we should just play through it because it's so quick, but it's about gerrymandering.
Okay.
Oh,
which
right.
is sort of everything you need to know about. It's very easy to imagine sort of what it's going to look like. Speaking of which, we have some news up on the front there.
I'm not even. I honestly have taken a
Yeah,
news
no, I didn't
hiatus.
even have time to read it. I was just like, this is very
hiatus.
topical.
Huh.
But yeah,
All right,
so
well-
I've already played through this. So one of you two should.
I guess I'll take this one
Yeah,
on
go
since
for
I
it,
have.
Josh.
I haven't gotten to play any games yet today. All right, so we're gonna take on District. This is a game about representation and redistricting. Alice and Bob make a country. Alice likes red. Bob likes blue. They split the country into 2 districts. For now, everyone is happy. You can see I missed my calling as a children's book narrator.
Your voice has a rich timbre.
I appreciate that. I just no draw groups of 1.
So you just draw the dividing lines, not the full outline.
Oh, so in the middle there?
Yeah. So
Or-
what you
Alright.
see on the right is they've got a couple ways of displaying the information. So you have the number of votes, which is 50-50, because it's one of each. And then you have the control of the floor, which is what the actual representation is. And then it sort of has that kind of like balancing left and right that
Right.
shows that off a little bit better too.
So in this where we have a country that is divided between 1 red and 1 blue, they have equal control, equal influence, because you can see that it's balanced here in the center. Now democracy is born! One person moves in with Alice. Another person moves in with Bob. They vote for favorite color, and both districts tie, so everyone compromises on purple.
Well, that's nice.
Yep. So draw our districts.
I see. So they
And
mix together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because each of them are tied, right? Each one is evenly represented. Now, a 3rd district is added for 2 new arrivals. They again vote for their favorite color, and most are happy with the results. So now we're supposed to draw groups of 2. And the only way that they're giving us the opportunity to draw groups of 2 is straight down the line.
Oh.
So you have one red district,
All right, so we've
one
got
blue district,
and a
one
purple
split
district, right?
Purple
One that's
district.
split.
All right.
So I'm guessing this is where we're going to start showing off a little bit more of our, oh, you moved to the country, pick a favorite color and run for president. So I understand that this is supposed to probably be agnostic, but I don't get to walk away from those politics. So
But well, all right.
yeah, so
Right.
we'll see what happens. So you win. Now you draw the districts. Things work out pretty well for blue. So see, each group must have 3 voters. So this is where you have that opportunity to mess things up. And I'm not going to do it because I have to believe it's heartbreaking.
I mean, do it, and it'll tell you the results.
It is frustrating. The second that I tried to draw this line, I was like,
Stressed out.
So what I find interesting even is like, so if you draw the line, it gives you the simulation. It doesn't
Right.
force you to stop.
Right.
You can draw it and redraw it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I find interesting is like even a relatively evenly drawn map like this, where you're trying to do your best, there's still 56% of the vote is red,
Right.
with 67% control.
Right.
Like, so even if you try your best, like we're already working within kind of an improved
Right.
system.
And we also just happened to draw the lines horizontally. If we had just happened to draw the lines vertically instead, right? So if we'd done this is a completely different story.
Yep.
So even if we're trying to use what feels like what feels like, oh, well, that looks like would be most balanced, or that's the simplest way to draw the map.
Yeah.
That's not representative of the population. Like, we would have to, I don't know, like,
I'm not even sure you
I don't know that.
could. I mean, that's the same.
That's
pretty
the
much
same thing. You
as-
still have one red district and 2 blue districts.
Yeah. Just based on the way they're laid out, I'm not sure you could do
Right.
it
And that may
another way.
be right. That may just be the way that they have designed, because we can't. But this is why electoral maps get so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're just gonna go ahead and be corrupt, but not really corrupt. There was only so much I could do, but I still let my personal influence tilt me towards drawing more blue districts than more red districts, which is why this is all busted. Country is evenly split. Blue wins again thanks to the magic of gerrymandering.
Hey!
Red feels cheated. Sorry, that's how the game works. So now we're drawing groups of 3, and we have a 50-50 split. All right. So in theory, we can draw this way and that way and this way. Now, blue can win more districts. It's not actually letting me advance.
Yep.
I have to make blue win. Even though this is representative.
There's a lesson to teach here.
This is messed up. All right. So let's go ahead and we'll draw a blue district this way. And we'll draw a, let's see, how do we do this? We need, so I guess we do it this way and this way.
Nice. I mean,
No, it's garbage.
Nice. Way to mander that, Jerry. Really jerried that mander.
Should have ran as a Republican.
Gosh, you're
I mean,
very-
I'm sorry.
you're
Should have
very-
ran as red. That's what I meant.
You're very good at manipulating voters.
So blue is now a minority, but you have a strategy: packing many red voters into one district and cracking the rest between many blue districts. So most red votes are wasted. So we need to make groups of 5. And we, again, game's telling us it has to tilt blue. So if we need, what? If we do...
There's nothing stopping you from putting 5 reds in a single district. You're like,
That's-
you're trying to be nice, and
I
you're trying to be
am,
too nice.
and it's just like, it's not okay. I feel like this. Like, okay, that's not right. Okay, so having an all red district makes sense for the
So-
purposes of this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess for the purpose of this
Do
thing,
we
you're like the
have-
minister of gerrymandering. Like
God,
they're like
this is-
making you do your job.
I
whether you
feel
want to or not.
really not great about doing this.
Hear that?
No, that's
Josh
not.
doesn't even like to pretend to interfere with democracy.
It's just not right. So we could do that. And then
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. Jerry that mander.
Yeah.
Look at those
winner.
districts.
They're the winner.
Oh, they come in the Mandarin. Tune in. I got a lot of those.
Your blue neighbors move apart. Now it's hard to put them in compact districts. You need to get more crafty.
Yikes.
This is breaking my heart. Chris. So we need to make groups of 6. And we need to have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're making 3 districts.
I'm looking up the word gerrymander while you do this.
Oh, it's a cool story.
Why
I mean, it's not
called
really.
gerrymandering?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Let's see. We need
Looking for some fun facts.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I also just kind of like that it actually is a legitimately interesting spatial reasoning problem.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like it's
Yeah.
actually a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's different from malapportionment, whereby the number of eligible voters per elected representative can vary widely. Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're asking me to make 2 majority blue districts with only 8 blue voters.
Mm-hmm. So 4 and 4.
Right.
Oh, so apparently there's two major strategies in gerrymandering, which we're seeing here. One is called cracking, and one is called packing.
Did they give like a...
Yeah, cracking is diluting the voting power of the opposing party's supporters across many districts, and packing is concentrating the opposing party's voting power, say that 10 times fast, in one district to reduce their voting power in other districts. So we've been doing a little more. I think we've been doing more packing than cracking, but
I think you have to do both, right? Because we packed in the one red district, and then we cracked the other two.
me, the boys, a cold one.
Josh is feeling so.
I am feeling
You
really.
don't like the
So not great. So not great.
This is why, like, I can't play Dark Side in like friggin' Star Wars games. Like,
Aww.
all right, gerrymandering won't work this time. Blue gets 36% of the votes, but only 25% of the floor. This is clearly unfair. You must ensure proportional representation. Let's see. Also, P. Flanton sometimes jumps in with solutions because he's better at puzzle games than I am. So I appreciate.
I like that
I appreciate you helping us out.
We've made it to catastrophe phase.
We're losing. Catastrophe.
Catastrophe.
5, but only 25% of the floor. You must ensure proportional representation. So we want to crack these.
Yeah, we gotta crack up all this red here.
Right, like this is frustrating.
Yeah, so if we can put
Now it's blue. 1, 2.
So how many districts do you need? How many blues do you need in a district?
I guess we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
They need
5, 6,
4
7. We've
to
got
win.
4 districts.
Yeah, so you just need 4 in each district.
we need 4 blue in as many districts as possible.
Yeah.
So
Buttons.
Wait. Okay.
buttons.
So it's saying that blue gets 30%. So are we saying that we're trying to give them more than 25% of the floor?
I think so. I think that's like if with the default split, we would only get. Oh no! I think this is just like make that happen basically.
Okay, because I was gonna say there's a blue arrow
why
on
won't
this side.
gerrymandering work this
So-
time? I don't understand why they're saying it won't work this time.
Just because there's not enough.
There's not.
So you need 3
Oh.
blue districts, but to get 3 blue
I
districts,
see now.
you
Right.
would need 4, and then you've only got 2 left over.
Right.
Oh, this is not my job. I would not be good at this.
I don't want to be good at this.
Face it, you're a natural.
Garbage. There we go. We need to get Chicago crafty. That is our hometown. It is the Chicago machine. That's really terrible. Multiple winners make districts more proportional. Half as many districts with 2 winners each means a better map for blue, but when red takes charge, you want to guarantee that all maps are fair. So we want groups of 14.
Gotta make it fair.
That's what we want, right?
Yeah.
Half as many districts with 2 winners each. So I guess they're split now.
Yep.
You give each district 3 winners. Now gerrymandering is almost impossible. You realize that single winner districts are fundamentally unrepresentative. You wonder, what can I do about? Okay, so now it's telling us.
Yeah. Now it's like
The idea is
theoretically one solution to this problem is we just give each district multiple winners instead of one winner wins all.
right.
So you see like the number of like the red stripes, they're twice as thick as the blue stripes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like no matter how you like if you try to divide it in different ways, you'll still get pretty much the same result.
So if we did, let's see, we've got 4, 8, 12, 13, 14.
So like if you put all the reds in a single district, for example, can you even do that?
I don't
try to
think
put
so.
all the reds in a single.
Well, because there's this one in the middle.
Sure, all but one.
Oh, shoot.
Oops.
Shoot.
Not more news.
Well, that's okay.
All right.
Now we're gonna speed running district. All right, so we've got this one and this one, and
I love that.
this is the longest part of the game.
Oh, why?
Oh, the hesitation.
It's the alternate playthrough. All right, so.
Sorry, that's how the game works.
Oh wait, no, I broke it. I did it wrong. You know what? Yeah, we should just let it go. Shall we? Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so the idea is that like if you put all the red in one district, so then you have 3 red winners there, which offsets instead of 1, which offsets the fact that they only have 1 district to them.
Sure. Well, yeah, I like and that's kind of nice because like nobody had to die for the purposes of that.
I mean,
nobody had to die or get harassed.
Right.
Probably do die as a result of gerrymandering. Let's all face it. But in this particular instance, nobody died directly as a result.
But I mean, this is where it shows that the difficulty is that the working within the bounds of the way that the system was created is inherently flawed.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not just a question of how do we draw the right districts? It's the results that we're going to get from these districts are inherently not going to satisfy what we're looking for. Yeah. If what we're looking for is representation of the population.
Even if you're trying to be fair, like you still just can't be fair.
Right.
The system doesn't allow for it.
Exactly. I mean, wearing my politics on my sleeve, like you can get an extra almost 3 million votes, but if you play the system correctly, and we've had that discussion even aside from the actual results, of the November election, the idea that like you don't have, there's no way to have consistent representation or electoral power based on the system we have, right? Like you naturally have more power in a state, you have more power per person in small rural states than you do in places with dense cities. And how do you fix that system?
Yeah.
But how do you also have an incentive to fix that system when you are in power, right? So theoretically, Democrats could have fixed that system for 8 years and didn't. So,
indeed,
that's it. Let's move
I
on.
think this game is already effective just because it got you off on that tangent.
Yeah. So
In
It
a
bums
game
Josh out,
stream.
I'm so frustrated.
Which, like, to me, and like, I think that's great, like, because the game made you so frustrated. Like, something this simple, something this, like, almost purely educational.
Mm-hmm.
Just, like, the fact that it can get you to go off on a tangent, like, that's pretty dang effective.
That's
it's powerful.
super true. Well, it is 5:11. We're running this until just before 6 o'clock. So let's go ahead and take on another one. Now, we're not going to make it through our whole list. So is there one that you want to jump to?
Let's see if we can start skipping around. I kind of like... So the other one, speaking of polished games, there's one called Bar Story that was very nifty looking, which I'm going to do the polish thing and ask to check that one out because
I'll get it queued up.
All the characters look like Muppets, which is what I loved about it.
Everybody loves Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, I'm sure there's somebody out there that's like Muppets and.
And
really?
the one that's been going around a lot that got suggested to me, which I think might be good, is Apology Simulator.
Okay.
Ooh.
Which is a Twine game. So maybe you can. I don't know if you have. The other one down.
I've got both of them. Yeah.
Cool.
Or wait, Apology Simulator? I think that one's browser.
One's a Twine browser game.
Yeah. Whichever one you would prefer. Which one do you want to run?
I mean, they're both kind of conversational.
You want to go to
Yeah, I mean, I guess let's maybe start with Apology Simulator and end on a high note with Muppets at a Bar.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we can even get 1 or 2 more in there because I think Apology Simulator is pretty quick.
Cool. I'll go ahead and play this one because I'm really good at Twine.
You're gonna say I'm
a very excellent
pro Twine gamer
of Twine.
I feel like I should take it on because I'm really good at apologizing. I have a lot of experience.
I should have more, probably. I feel like I could stand to brush up.
Let's do. There you go.
Chill. Okay. Whoop.
Oh.
Knocking it all. Okay.
Apology Simulator by Matthew S. Burns.
Oh, here we go.
I missed my calling.
Voiceover provided with Josh Book.
So, about what happened at the party.
I'm already really uncomfortable.
What I did was unprofessional of me. I have no good explanation for myself. It was the only time I've ever done something like that. I hope you can realize that my intentions were benign.
Oh, so you can go through
Too far.
and craft your apology.
Oh, interesting. Regarding the incident on the elevator yesterday.
Oh dear.
The things I said during our one-on-one earlier. I'm not sure how to begin this. Haha.
Smiley face.
Oh.
I'm really, truly sorry. I want you to know that.
Wow.
I am tremendously, monumentally sorry. I'm not exactly sure what happened. Whatever it was, what I did was unprofessional of me.
Wow. I think I might have done something really bad.
I have no idea how things got to where they did. I'm not usually like that. Seriously. I've been having some, trouble at home.
Oh, yeah. There's...
I'm
My
sure
life is so hard.
that my behavior
Excuse.
upset you.
I love how all three of us immediately just like dive right into mocking. Just like, great.
I was only trying to make a joke. All right, edgelords. I have no good explanation for myself. I hope you can realize my intentions were benign. I won't easily forgive myself for it.
Oh.
Obviously, I have work to do. This was the only time I've ever done something like that. And I hope you can understand that I am really ashamed. I'm sure you feel awful. I feel awful too. You probably won't believe me, but I am actually a good person.
Oh my gosh.
And I hope you can understand that I am really ashamed. I know that I have no right to ask this, but
Wow.
this might be a little forward of me, but a favor to ask. I know I have no right to ask this, but I'm hoping we can find a way to move past this and work together like nothing happened. Please keep what happened between just us. I'd really like it if we didn't need to escalate things from here. I'd appreciate that. I need to live up to my standards. That's awful. My shame is already a lot to bear. This is difficult. I place myself at your mercy. I'd appreciate that.
This is... Wow.
Oof, that was really difficult to write.
Yeah, wait, let me... can I get some kudos here?
I guess things are gonna be awkward now, huh? I'm definitely be cringing when I see you at the office tomorrow. Haha. I should probably tell my therapist about this too. Sigh.
That was draining.
Okay.
So wait, so we're receiving...
We are receiving this now. Now we're on the other side. I reject this apology. I don't know about
So, like,
you all.
I wrote it.
So-
I reject
I wrote
I mean-
this and I reject it.
The difficulty for me in reading this, right, is that like you could see even our different reactions at different lines that take place in the apology, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that we should do one thing or the other, but it's just like I feel like the difficulty in that is that like there's no way that you're not associating with this experience as you're going through. Like
On
this
one-
is
on one
really
side or
well
the other.
crafted.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
this
and
is
in
very
totally
very good.
different ways.
Right.
Very good.
Like I'm imagining letters that I've seen publicly like this.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I'm sure that's like where I'm feeling the of it. Like, but I'm sure you two are feeling very different. Like, I
Right.
expect maybe either of you have received possibly apologies like this one.
I feel like I've been on both ends.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I would say the same.
To be fair.
Like there are lines that like I know I'm like, and I especially where you can think back to like like I know I've said that before, and like understanding like there are lines where it's like there's an intention, right? But so much of, and I felt like particularly when listening to your reading, you seem to really stick on the places where the writer of the letter is focusing on them.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, this is affecting me. I place myself at your mercy. And it's like, I could tell that for you were just like, why do you keep talking about yourself?
Well, and you'll
But-
notice in the final version, at no point is there an actual "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry.
Which is why I choose to reject this apology, because it is not an apology. An apology is when you actually say, "I'm sorry."
Sure. And by the way, there are some folks in the chat. Damn it, Chris says this hits pretty close to home. And P. Flannery says, always include a smiley for sincerity, which is one of the things that we had clicked.
Oh
through.
yeah.
So.
The ha smile. Ha ha.
Whoa, that was
That was surprisingly satisfying.
I was damning was the word I was looking for, but like.
Okay, we're gonna move on just
Okay.
for the sake of playthrough. Okay, let's try this again. Thanks for your note. I appreciate your bringing this matter to my attention. This is to let you know that I received your email. Thanks. Okay. It's healthy that you raised your concerns. It's important for us to talk about this frankly. What you've described is a very serious matter. This is some pretty dangerous stuff here. Now, I want to start by saying, let me begin by stating unequivocally that, so first off, this is absolutely not what our organization stands for. You should not have to put up with this here. I am truly sorry you had this experience. Hey, look.
Huh.
I am not trying to excuse
Oh
it,
no.
but of course it's important to keep in mind, it's an unfortunate reality that people under stress, people with a certain upbringing and mindset, creative geniuses, sometimes do things like this, may not even notice the issue, are not always the best at this kind of thing. Naturally, there are many different opinions and ideas on our team.
For a second, it seemed like we were going somewhere
Yeah.
potentially.
It's necessary for all of us to give up something to work together. Oh, wow.
Is this like working at Apple Simulator?
I thought you were going to say working at Applebee's simulator, but
I mean,
I'm sure they're
this
both.
applies.
Yeah, I
very
was going to say,
broadly.
like, I'm pretty sure
But I was like, I can imagine.
working at Uber simulator.
Uh-huh.
Wait, no, I'm not going to deal with woke in the. No.
Sorry, Josh. I didn't write it. I think we have to put this one in. I clicked off of it. You don't have
He's
to
like,
see
I'm not
it
coming back in the
anymore.
room until that's.
I can't handle.
You can come back.
You know, I want to say I at least appreciated that they didn't go to. Naturally, we have a lot of diverse opinions.
Ooh. Different is good. We're trying
It's
to
not quite as
improve,
much of a.
but it's going to take time. I hope you won't let it bother you too much.
Wow.
It's just the nature of it. If you have any questions, hopefully this helps you feel better. But if it doesn't, If it continues to be a problem, come see me again.
You flat.
Nice.
Like, yeah, this employer is garbage.
Nice.
Set.
You have one new message. This is to let you know I received your email. This is some pretty dangerous stuff here. Let me begin by stating unequivocally that I am truly sorry you had this experience. I'm not trying to excuse it, but creative geniuses are not always the best at this kind of thing. Now, I have received almost exactly that.
Are you serious?
Naturally, there are many different opinions and ideas on our team. I hope you won't let it bother you too much. If it continues to be a problem, come see me again. So the idea that it happened already is not enough.
Right. Y'all know what I'm doing.
All right, well, wait. Before you let go, I am kind of curious if the game is going to address the consequences of either accepting or rejecting the apology.
Yes.
I'm very curious about that.
Okay. Yeah, Okay. Apology rejected.
I'm not going to accept that apology. Not if they say creative geniuses are just like that. Sorry about it.
Yeah. Certainly not.
Sorry.
Certainly not internally.
It's really interesting that they make you play both sides, right? So you're crafting an apology, and there is a part of me that wonders, like, okay, so, like, a lot of folks, particularly when when you're versed in ideas of social justice and, like, you know, having that sort of like social consciousness and awareness and sort of a progressivism in a business environment, right? Like, a lot of in the same way that if somebody says, like, oh, you're so well spoken, like, it hits this trigger in my head, like, I know what you're saying.
It's a microaggression.
Yeah, you know, but I feel like a lot of these lines are very much they're very much couched in that type of language that we're hypersensitive to, right? Particularly being in Portland, and I say this coming from the Midwest, right? So, like, I've been in workspaces where I could receive a letter like that, and, like, we're reading it and, like, cringing, right? But, like, where I could receive a letter that's crafted using lines from that in a way that is meant to be completely genuine.
Oh, of course.
And I think that's one of the again, I mean, this is a lot of what I do is, like, taking my Midwest and mixing it with my, you know, whatever, with my Portland. But, like, that's where I think there is an interesting layer that we might not be, I wonder if there are people who play this game and craft these apologies and then think, oh yeah, I think that's reasonable. Because like, I can see how, like, there's not a situation that we're looking at and we're like, nah, this is all full of trash. But I wonder if there are people who would play through this and be like, okay, like, and be surprised at the end if there was, like, I think what I'm trying to say is, I wonder if there are people who are crafting apologies and then say apology accepted because they feel that they've crafted a legitimate apology.
At the same time, it might be different when you're, like, mad-libbing and then you get it in your inbox and it's all strung together and then you're reading this non-apology and all of a sudden it hits you that, like, this is actually not an apology. I think I can see it going either way.
So like, you're almost bringing up three different situations that I find pretty kind of curious. So, like, the one situation is the person's not really trying to craft an apology, they're just trying to make themselves feel better.
Yes.
Then there's the situation of, like, they're trying to craft an apology, but they kind of, like, don't know any better. They don't know necessarily how this is interpreted.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the, like, this is just how an apology is crafted, like, maybe, like, in the Midwest. Like, this is just how an apology is, and people would normally accept this as a good apology. And it's interesting, there's, like, those three.
And I should probably, like, I should probably get a little nuanced in that, like, I don't think that there's, like, a cultural assumption that, like, a not apology is an apology in the Midwest. But I think it's more that, like, when I, particularly, like, when I was in college or when I was in high school and when I was in a lot of spaces that were, like, significantly white spaces or, like, places where people weren't, you know, where in complete honesty, like, for a long time, like, when people would say, I don't see color, that wasn't a problem to me because I was only around people who were saying, well, I don't see color and people are people. And I was like, oh yeah, that must make sense. And it didn't happen until I got to college and was around other black people more frequently and understood, like, wait a second, the idea that you're saying that color should be ignored is somehow saying, like, okay, well, that's a facet of your experience that we should not be paying attention to, or shouldn't have to pay attention to, or is unimportant, or, you know, to the point that it's like, it is more important to disregard a part of who I am and how I exist in this space so that everybody gets along. You don't have to see color. But I didn't feel that way until I was around other people of color who gave me an opportunity to better understand that. So I guess when I say that I, you know, in those Midwestern spaces, particularly in predominantly white spaces where it's more a sense of time, though I do think that less frequently those discussions about social justice and diversity and progress or whatever were happening in those spaces. And I've had a number of friends who have reached out to me since high school and college and have said, like, hey, like, what we were doing was kind of shitty. And I think it's because, like, the conversation in general has progressed on a country level.
On a cultural level, for sure.
Yes, but also because, like, they turned out to, like, think about what they were doing and wanted to make improvements, and I really appreciate. I've never expected that those conversations would happen, but I always appreciate it a lot more than I would have expected, because it does feel, I guess, kind of vindicating to know that people care.
Yeah.
So thanks to those who were out there and did that. It means a lot.
It almost makes me think of, like, the situation where you want to, like, call someone out on something and, like, sort of having to make that decision, like, okay, like, how, like, am I calling them out from the point of view of, like, well, I know they're being, like, are they aware of their shittiness or not? Like, are they aware that what they're, like, how aware are they of the thing that they're doing is actively kind of harmful or not? And there's almost like are they, how subconsciously aware, right? Because there's some people who are subconsciously really are kind of aware, right? Like, either like passive aggressiveness, I think, is a good kind of example of it. Like, where somebody's doing something passive aggressive, it's like they're like surface level, maybe not aware that they're doing something terrible, but, like, yeah, they probably kind of are, like, underneath. So it's sort of like figuring out where in that spectrum they are of, like more innocent lack of awareness versus less innocent lack of awareness.
And then, sorry, I gotta catch it. Wait. And then apparently, Damn It Chris was saying that people have said they have trouble understanding his accent, but he's born in Rockford, has about as much of an accent as I do.
Sorry about that microaggression.
That is,
That's
yeah,
shitty.
it's super shitty. So yeah, sorry to hear that. All right, well, should we?
Yeah, let's do a little more.
Should we go through these a little bit more quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk? Hey, I just wanted a chance to explain myself. I hope it's okay for me to email you. I know I came on too strong. I think I may have angered you. I think things got off to a really bad start, and it's totally my fault. The thing is, I'll level with you. It's hard for me to admit this, but, well, at least that's honest.
Mm-hmm.
I was very nervous. I'd already had a couple drinks before you even showed up. I was really distracted by the server there.
I instinctively thought, I was like, why are computers here?
I just got promoted at work, so I've been experiencing a lot of pressure.
I'm sorry. That was my first thought. I was just like, why do you care? Like, I don't.
I like how you said that, and I'm like, yeah, and then it like 2 seconds later, it like hits me like, wait, what?
I'm the worst. I'm sorry.
Even so, I couldn't have predicted that just casually mentioning. Still, I did not think my innocent comments on. At the same time, I didn't expect talking about the hypocrisies of our society, the aspects I found attractive about you, the devil's advocate position.
Do you hear how frustrated you're getting right now? Like,
Am I?
Have I just been,
I've been mansplained before once in my life. casually.
Your tone, you're
just
getting a little angry.
casually
Like, you should
mentioning
just
the
smile.
hypotheses of
Like,
our society. I'm gonna freak
Table
out, you guys.
flip, yeah.
I'm gonna freak out.
why?
Would be so controversial. Yeah, I do dramatic reading. I hope that's okay of this twine. I'm not gonna just would offend you like that. I didn't mean for that to happen, obviously. I think this was all a big misunderstanding. I still believe that what I said was factually correct, but perhaps I said it in an insensitive way. I have absolutely.
I am 100%.
That one. Ding, 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 ding,
Almost copy and pasted.
You have to laugh. You have to laugh. Damn, that's. Whoever wrote this is a damn genius.
Mr. Wasteland.
Maybe you would be open to discuss this further. Oh yes, please ask me for emotional labor. Are you open to trying one more time? I promise we can do it right next time. Will you email me back, please, even just to say you saw the message? Anyway, I don't expect we'll see each other again, so goodbye.
Neither do I. Oh.
I still believe. I stand by everything I said. But I just maybe should have said it a little different.
Ooh. It's like a bingo card. I'm sorry.
Well, it's official. We've killed Josh. I'm sorry. Intelligame will be ending from this point on.
We finished the job that the gerrymandering started. I'm sorry. You see what happens when he has guests on? This is what happens.
Oh. See, this is why I do streams by
Should not
myself.
have
They
let
stay,
me- should
they
not have
stay,
let me be
they
part
stay
of
nice
this.
and boring when I do it by myself. I don't have to. Oh. Oh. There we go.
I'm also rejecting this apology.
Coincidentally.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I love the sound is like the
Bonk.
stamp sound.
Stamp of
It's like-
rejection.
So good. I feel like the transitions could be a little quicker. That would be a critique of this.
Hylian calls out that there are no good options, which I think we've confirmed.
There
Yeah,
are
also-
there are better ones. There are some that are
There-
better than others.
There are
Less terrible options.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was quite a speed.
I'm sorry.
Seems like you had quite a lot to get off your chest. Have you always felt this way? Those are quite some accusations to level at me.
Ugh.
Some of it was familiar territory,
That's right.
and
keep
some
mine.
of it was new. You know, maybe I didn't always do the right thing. I'm willing to admit there were some mistakes made here and there. Was the past all sunshine and rainbows? No. But nobody is perfect. But I did the best I could, okay? And for that, I guess I'm supposed to take 100% of the blame. And you know what? Look, give me a break. I'm gonna say, give me a break. I'm not breaking off a piece of my Kit Kat bar.
I want to break
So
off
that-
a foot in this guy's
Yeah,
ass.
right? I only wanted the bet. You have. I can't read it
We
anymore.
might
out
have to,
loud,
I was
Josh.
to say this might have to be the last game. I'm like, I need to go back to a game where I can.
Oh,
like,
here's the mansplaining again.
I'm gonna play some like Overwatch and just get all this saltiness just out. It just.
Yeah. Is there a Wolfenstein simulator I can
Ooh.
play? Speaking of Wolfenstein.
Hylian says on the scale from super insensitive to douche, some are better than others.
Well, this one is getting real salty. Only one more stage, guys. What horrors await us?
My pulse is elevated.
I know. I'm feeling. Yeah. I'm upset.
Alt games, folks.
No, I don't. I do get a little satisfaction about that.
Yeah.
I wish. I kind of just
I'm
want to take
hoping-
a screenshot of this in case I need that for the future.
I want
I can
apology.
just post it to someone.
I want 5 to just say I'm really sorry.
Yeah,
Like
could it?
just let me go. Oh.
Writing you even though, you know. Yeah, so.
What's up, Robin? Welcome to the stream. Weird. You missed some
We're in
Real
the middle
salt.
of some pretty challenging material.
Some salt.
You have no obligation to read this. I don't know if this will get to you. I'm sure you'll delete this. This might be a bad idea. It is. I'm sure it is. If you're wondering how I'm doing, not a good opener. The last week has been a nightmare. There are no words for how I feel right now, though I can try. I'm a wreck. Humiliated. A failure. I feel like my soul is being run over by a truck, constantly, over and over. I'm trying to come to terms with the realization that I'm a piece of shit. Of course, you have every right to abandon me. God! Centering themselves, always. I tried to tell you I was a terrible person once. It's nice you believe me now. Yeah, I have most certainly gotten that one. Oh, good! That's just like a melange of fucked up, excuse me.
Melange. Oh, fucked up.
That's a lot. I always suspected, and we both knew, it was obvious that.
I'm really frustrated that I'm not wearing a hoodie right now.
I know, I want to
really
crawl.
just
My skeleton wants to jump out of my body and run down the street. It was obvious that you'd ultimately go with someone who needed a person who was. You'd eventually find that special human being who was irrationally positive all the time, willing to flatter you constantly, not some fucking loser. Rich and famous and successful, unlike me, better than me in every way, including its sex.
How would you know? There are a lot of dialogue options for that particular line.
There's the sorry. Let's
Wait.
see what it comes with.
No, I wasn't.
I don't expect your forgiveness. No wonder. I'm sorry that
Please, you.
I wasn't good enough for you. I'm sorry that I wasn't good enough for you. You realized I wasn't the one. You only liked me.
Can we rewind? I'm sorry you realized I wasn't the one. So I've never been the one. I'm just sorry you figured it out.
You only liked me when you thought I was someone different. God, things happened the way they did. To me, that's almost the worst. When people say, I'm so sorry things happened the way they did. It's like, you did them. God didn't do that, you did.
I can't.
How did they happen? What a joke.
Nice.
The notion that it's super fucked looking back, how it even seemed possible that, what a hilarious thing to think, that I'd magically transform into your perfect fantasy being. I could abase myself and make you happy. You might take me seriously one day. My infinite apologies forever. Well, somehow...
That's not...
That's...
Wait, Hylian says...
Sorry I ever existed.
Nice
Have fun with your new plaything.
Whoa.
Go on. Stab me, hit me, spit on me. That's no worse than how I feel right now.
Is that like a somebody lyric? Is that like a pop?
This is like...
Stab me, hit me.
I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you how much I've gotten this kind of shit.
This is really...
over the years.
Hylian says, nice self-centered apology. Please pity me so it doesn't matter I'm a POS. I'm close to getting a drink so at least I can feel grizzled and gruff in the face of all these accusations, negs, and outright selfishness. Like but that's what I was hoping that 5 would be like, this is an example of an apology.
Good apology.
And instead it was
really
just
hoping
like,
for that,
okay.
yeah.
and
Y'all just for the sake, should we just accept the apology just to see what happens? Josh is really, it's against every fiber of Josh's being.
There is so much to have rejected the other.
I know, and accept this one
Like,
is
all right,
really
well,
not
like,
okay.
How about a compromise? We reject this one and then restart the game and do the first
And
one
do it
over.
quick.
Just quickly.
Fine.
I'll
Okay.
accept that one.
Yeah.
you
You want
do
to hit
accept
it? It
the-
actually feels really good if one of you want to hit reject. Josh, I think you should be.
for it.
It does.
Isn't that satisfying?
That is satisfying.
This is one of the better.
This
20s
seems
I
written
played
after
lately.
several drinks. Yeah, like,
Whoever wrote this, you are a
Do we
you're
get-
a heckin' genius.
do we get 6?
Oh, now there's 6.
Let's see. Is
Okay.
this the one we've been waiting for?
Hey, hi, dude.
Dude.
I'm sorry. We're just gonna leave that one. Well, I'm sorry. I want to apologize. I owe you an apology. I'm truly sorry. I said some things that hurt you. I assumed you didn't know what you were talking about. I misjudged the situation. I handled that in a really poor way.
These are all I statements that are taking accountability for the action.
To tell you the truth, looking back, I see that. I'm not sure how, but I think I'm gonna do the last one because that's the least authoritative. I totally misunderstood what you were trying to say. I became very defensive all of a sudden. Closer. I got scared. Ding. I didn't stop and listen like I should have. Then I just shut down. I wasn't thinking. I should have been more aware of my language and behavior. Will you forgive me? I hope you'll accept my apology. I'd like it if we could still talk to each other. Will you forgive me?
I'd like to note the contrast between I'm sorry, I gotta.
Oh yeah, please.
What was between I'd like it if we could still talk to each other, and earlier it was either in 1 or 2 where they were like, I hope we can move on as if this never happened.
Yeah. And this is like that. It's like instead of acknowledging that it never happened, it's like we have to acknowledge that it happened.
Right. This is a I want us to I hope that we can move on. I hope that we can still be together. Not, together, but maybe, I don't know. But this isn't dismissing the actions that took place before. This isn't an erasure. And if that was something, if erasure were to happen, that's not something that you're asking for.
Right.
Right. To put somebody in the position to force them to feel, in order to respect your feelings, or in order to have their feelings respected, they have to respect your feelings.
Yeah. Good point. Okay. I'll understand either way. I'm going to work on being better. I really value your thoughts. I really do regret my actions. Okay, I'm going to say I really value your thoughts. Let me know how you feel, okay? Oh, how about that? I just want to keep trying. There's more to talk through, maybe when we both feel better. I do think there are things you could have done better too, but that's for another time.
You can't hit them all.
Thank you. Anyway, thanks for reading. Have a good night. Thanks for reading. Just gonna say thank you.
It's like one of the other ones instead.
Right.
Now I would accept this apology. Like if I got this in my inbox, I would accept the apology. I mean, I'd probably be spicy, but
sure,
I would spicily accept the apology. Or do you feel comfortable accepting this apology, you two?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Oh.
Okay. Is that it? It's kind of great that it doesn't
I know it's not like everybody gets a cookie. It's like that. No, that is literally the least you can do.
Wait. Special thanks. This was written by a man. This was written by Matthew. Special thanks. I think he did some consulting to be like, can you tell me about some of your experiences there? Because there were some very what felt like lines that I was like, I don't feel like I have gotten. They feel very mansplainy. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those situations where I feel like, assuming that Matthew, if I'm making the assumption that Matthew is cisgender male, it was like we should probably find some people to talk to figure out what, because the reactions that we had are not just like, oh, let me just come up with some dialogue. That was, some of that stuff was ripped out of my inbox.
No, for sure. It was dead on. And I'll also say in the case that Matthew is trans or non-binary, I still think it's important to consult with other people because we're all socialized differently. We all
Absolutely.
have different experiences. We all have privilege. There are certain microaggressions that totally go over my head that would register with others. I can be very suspicious myself if I'm not careful, that kind of thing. So I think it's always good to consult.
Good point.
Yeah. I'd just like to say I'm sorry for having contributed to to the two of you going through that. Clearly, that was far more difficult for the two of you than it was for me.
It's nice to laugh at that.
It's like, I was like, the thought crossed my mind. I was just like, we're over here having aneurysms.
Yeah, we're like freaking out.
I feel like you're just like, I should be quiet now. I should
You're
just.
like,
And I was like, that was tough. Like watching an episode of The Office is tough. Like not, it's very different kind of difficulty
not
face.
the,
Like
oh,
extremely different experiences on display there.
Oh. We
Well,
laughed, we cried.
What a note.
We almost
What a
destroyed
note.
my laptop.
And we almost drowned Josh.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
Yeah, that was almost a game ender, folks.
My blood pressure has gone up a few ticks. Between the gerrymandering and this, I'm feeling very stressed out. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah, right?
We should do this again.
Yeah,
That was
I'd be
fun.
down for that.
Yeah, I would love to have you back on the show.
I'm just
think
going to
this
invite
is-
myself.
Yeah, we're like,
We should
we're
crash
doing
this more often,
it.
right?
We're coming back. We're coming back.
Someday.
But no, that was really cool. I think it was nice to not only show off some games that we've, our style that we've never done on Intelligame before, but also being able to get your input and your insight. Like, it was really cool. So yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much for having us. And you have
Yeah.
a great community. It's really nice hanging out with y'all, too.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all.
This is my first time on Twitch, so
Oh, whoa.
thanks for...
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
And this is amazing that you've got this
Twitch-
going on. I'm
Twitch
going to start
is-
tuning into your streams now.
Yeah,
So I can add my pithy commentary.
Well, that's like, right.
I don't know.
And also see what you're doing.
Yeah.
It won't be
settings.
complete without the voice, though. I think the voice
No.
work really sort of made this entire last segment just a choice.
If you would like me to dramatically read Twine to you, I'm available. I'm a freelancer.
Right.
That sounds like a YouTube video in the works.
It
Yes,
does.
it's like a mirror
YouTube
form
channel
of
in the
ASMR.
works.
Well, why don't we're walking up on time, so again, thank you for showing up. Do you want to give the breakdown of like if folks wanted to find your work, if you have events coming up, if you want to give information about that, Yuri, you want to start?
Sure, I can start. So everyone, my name is Yuri. I'm a local developer here in town with Sleep Ninja Games, and one of the organizers of ALTcade, which is the event that sort of this whole thing is for. We're playing through these games. That's the three of us are ALTcade, and the idea is to showcase games that are a little bit different, a little bit more about different experiences, ones that you might not face every day. Basically anything that's not sort of mainstream and not even necessarily indie, but a little bit more out there, a little bit more speaking to different experiences and more focused maybe on kind of emotion and storytelling and stuff like that. But yeah, so our next event, which is sort of what we're playing these games for, which is where we're sort of picking our lineup for the next event, is going to be on June 27th at Open Signal PDX, and it's running from 7 p.m.
6 to 9 p.m.
6 to 9 p.m. And we're going to have some local alt games, some games from the broader space, which is what all of these ones are, from the broader internet, alt game community, etc. And yeah, check us out.
And I'm Hannah. I'm also part of ALTcade. I don't know if any of you live in Manitoba, but this experimental video game interactive piece I made is going to be at the Winnipeg Underground Film Festival next weekend. So if you're in Winnipeg, go check it out.
How far is Winnipeg from Vancouver?
Very far. It's actually above Minneapolis.
Never mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a little tough. I've only been there in February. I wish I could go in June. I bet it's much nicer. I know it's much nicer. Anyway, so yeah, and then our next ALTcade event is the 27th. And you can find my work, which is mostly not video game related, but mostly video, at hannahpiperburns.com.
Okay. And then, did you want to toss a Twitter handle at the folks?
Sure. For me, it's at YoriKV. I think Josh has thrown that into the chat.
Yeah.
And I don't really do Twitter, but if you would like to follow me on Instagram and see cute animals and memes and all that good stuff, it's baby_Baba_Yaga.
Nice.
Baba Yaga's
Underscore Yaga.
That's it. Yeah, via Instagram. And then she's a Russian folktale witch.
Oh, cool. Hooray. And then you folks already know how to reach me. I'm guessing most folks here are regulars, but you can find me on Twitter at Wallstormer. You can find Intelligame on Facebook and Twitter at Let's Intelligame. Upcoming stuff you'll have to check on. ALTcade is coming up, which is real exciting.
Yeah.
And then I'll also be heading out to summer's convention season. There's a ton of traveling coming up. So E3 is just around the corner in a couple weeks. I can't believe I just said that out loud. E3 is in a couple weeks. I am hoping that I can make it out to New York for the Black Game Dev event that's taking place the week after E3. So that's going to be kind of nuts. There's a bunch of stuff coming up. So get pumped, get excited. And also, Robin wants to know where you got your hat from.
Oh gosh, this hat was made by a local artist named Taj Bourgeois. Spelled how you think, I think. Taj Bourgeois. And you can find him on Instagram as Taj Bourgeois, and he's selling everything.
Taj B-O, is that right?
I think it's I think it's O-U. Yeah, that looks right. Yeah. I also have he sells really reasonably priced, hilarious paintings, and then also t-shirts and hats.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Actually, Hylian is also part of Twitch PDX. So
cool.
the Twitch PDX folks will know when ALTcade is coming up too.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for sticking around for the stream. This was a really awesome one, and thank you, Hannah, and thank you, Yuri, for joining.
Yeah,
thank you so much, Josh. It was such a pleasure to be here.
A lot of fun. So till next time, folks. I don't think I have the play us out music. Do I have the play us out music? We have special. I have a bunch of stuff that. I need my other browser is the problem. So one day I'm gonna correctly prepare.
Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and.
Wait, what?
And wait for the drop. That's toggle.
No, that's not. Nobody. One of these days, I'm gonna get this right. This is our play us out music because I adore Nujabase, and you might not be able to hear it.
Oh man.
Because it's like a chill, very mellow. In fact, I usually play this as we're describing the outros, but I was so caught up in the experience that, well, whatever, folks. See you later.
Take care, everyone.